Welcome to today's collective reading. Be opening with vibration sound to aid in clearing the energy. It's to the vibration of the third eye. Also clearing with the selenite and the kyanite to elevate the energies and the messages, aligning them as they come through to the highest and greatest good of all the collective tuning in. Please take what resonates, what validates your intuition, and leave what does not, or possibly allow it to enrich your intuition, your empathy into others that may be experiencing that dynamic, to allow it to be added to your knowledge base. Okay. So I'm going to open with a couple oracles here. The guidance for this particular reading has been coming through for a couple of days. See, invitation to allow yourself to be present in the moment and to let everything that is going on in your mind just kind of sit for a bit, to be present now, because any amount of overthinking, it's not going to open the door. To think and think and think and worry and fret, you're only manifesting more and more worry, fret, frustration. You're basically, if you're acknowledging that you're in a state of waiting, you're manifesting being in a state of waiting. I know it's frustrating. I know. Oh, okay, so that is really stick together. Okay, so we have women supporting women. Together we can transcend our individual limitations. I would invite you to not see this as women supporting women, but individuals that are seeking to be in a receptive state, supporting others in being in that receptive state. Being open to not being in a state of waiting, helping one another to not be in that state. If it's not going to be like a social group, a collective that you interact with, family, friends, maybe an online support thing or a club of some kind, it could be just simply allowing others' states of receptivity to being in the now and moving into the future and not being in the past, to learn from this, to allow it to inspire you to be in a state of receptivity as well. We are social creatures, so we learn quite a bit through interacting with other energies around us, whether they are people or concepts, or it could even be in dreams. Maybe while you're in this state of now, you do something nice for yourself to help your mind kind of shut off. Maybe you go for a walk. Maybe you love thunderstorms and you happen to have one in this moment that you can go out and just kind of sit and observe and enjoy being in that moment. That is a state of receptivity. Being present in the now. Okay. Do we have any... I feel like they're going to want me to grab two from here. This reading is going to be quite a bit about a contradiction, contrast, appreciating contrast, observing it in others around you, observing it in yourself from a different lens as a result of observing that and what's going on around you. The key is within your grasp. This is doable. Whatever you're desiring to reach for, it's within grasp. You may have to, break some of your routines, some of what keeps you comfortable, but it's possible. understanding and working with this duality is definitely possible. First, I'm going to point out the numerology aspect to this, because I know that that is a very strong sync for me, and that's because I've learned so much about it, because it is a very strong sync for others as well as really human beings throughout time. We have always been looking to our environment, and counting numbers has been something that we've always had that intelligence to observe and see meaning in. So we have 22 here, which breaks to a 4, which is foundational. So the foundation is set for you to be in this receptive state. You have the help around you. You have the mirroring necessary to be able, when you do quiet your mind and stop overthinking, just being present. However best you tap into that, a lot of individuals will go outside to be in nature, to be present within nature. Because there's so much going on around you at all times. It's like being surrounded by a symphony. Your mind is so overwhelmed with all that is happening that it shuts off. It becomes aware of everything going on around it instead of this constant fight or flight kind of dynamic that we have in our minds. It's an illusion. And that's the epiphany. To see through nature, to allow nature to help you see clearly, to let the gold within you, the knowledge, the beauty within you naturally come to light. To allow yourself to open to it. Revealing your gifts. Gratitude. When this moment happens, gratitude. It's like a humbling that hits you. You're like, wow, I couldn't see it and it was right here. I couldn't feel it as real, but it was right here. It's like this has been something that has been trying to be seen, but because you've been in this state of must overcome, must figure out, must, this kind of thing that you couldn't really see it for what it was, that it was right there. We have 6 and 4, which break to a 10, which is like, it's a completion. So once you see this, once your mind quiets and you're able to just be, your mind will filter it through, and suddenly your subconscious will let it come to your conscious light, to your conscious awareness. And you'll understand that there's no better time than now. Our time in this life, it is short. Seize it. Seize it, because it's here, it's time. What better time could there be than now? Okay. So I'm going to do somewhat of a conversation kind of reading, because this is about contrast. This is about what are you receptive to and what are you assertive to, and how are they challenging you? How is this within yourself as well as outside of yourself? Being that this is foundational, what are you actually building? What are you looking to manifest? And since it is about receptive energy, I will begin with the deck that's a little more along the lines of receptive invitation. At least that's the energy that I feel from it consistently, the relationship that I have. It may be a little different for other people, but that is it for me. Okay, so we have the Lover's card. And you see even here, there's a bit of contrast. Like there's sharp edges, seeming to be somewhat like armor. But there's an elegance to it. There's also a coldness around this more assertive masculine energy. And she's all wispy and light. She doesn't have cold around her, but between them, there's a fusing, a connecting, a heating between their energies, a fusion, if you will. Almost like atomic. Okay, so we have 6. I'm going to place this in the middle just for now. And then I'm going to grab my more assertive energy deck. And I'm getting more familiar with it. I am. Now assertive is also the archetype of, it's the label I choose because it's not so, you know, intensely easy to categorize everything under, but it is also the descriptor for the masculine. The assertive, the acting, what are you doing, what are you giving to, what are you empowering, what are your choices towards things, whereas this is receiving, what are you open to, what are you willing to receive, what are you allowing to come into your energy. So you're looking to have some kind of a fusion, a connection, a partnership. So this is more than likely going to definitely be that we're opening with the Lovers as major arcana. This is more than likely going to be a love reading, a soul connection reading. It can be something that is not necessarily a romantic dynamic. It can be family, friend. It could even be like something you're creating with divine that requires a balance of these energies to be able to come into fruition. So however this resonates, but I'm going to be speaking in terms of masculine, feminine dynamic. Do apply as to how it intuitively applies to you. Clarifying this, we have the Knight of Spheres inverted. So the Knight of Pentacles, in other words, the Knight of Pentacles inverted. Ooh. Something is not necessarily in balance here. Possibly a different perspective. Whenever they're inverted like this, it's you need to look deeper than just the surface layer. So, oh my gosh, the keywords for this are poignant. So it's stubbornness and misdirection. So it's this energy that is meant to slowly move methodically forward is being distracted and is very, very stubborn. So first you got to look within inside of you. How are you digging in your heels when it comes to this creation, this co-creation, this connection, the fusion of balance within self? How are you digging in your heels on that? And how are you distracting yourself? Or are you being distracted by outside energy that is allowing you to remain in that stubborn energy, not willing to do that dance, to compromise, to be able to create the fusion that you are actively wanting? You're receptive to it, but you're also blocking yourself. That is the first layer. Next layer is, how is this being mirrored outside of you? So definitely that outside energy, if it is outside energy that is distracting you, maybe it's a job, maybe it's a conflict with a coworker, maybe it's something going on in the family unit with like the kids, or you're, you know, maybe like you're having to take care of a parent. This is a distraction, and it's hindering your ability to move forward towards what you are very muchly calling in. The divine is hearing you clearly. Your heart is longing for this. As I said, apply it where it lays, and it can apply in multiple areas, not just one or the other or another. So, how do we get this to come upright? How do we reframe the stubbornness? How do we, you know, because it's pointed that this is also like, if there's a rhino might be a sink. How do you focus, that stubbornness on getting to your destination, on actively moving towards your destination. And that's rooted in this distraction. A couple clarifiers for this distraction. Maybe some guidance, insight into this for the collective on how to move through it, past it, beyond it. Because whenever you're looking to create fusion between two, energies within self or outside of self, there's going to be some compromise that's needed. They're going to challenge you. It's not going to be exactly as you want it to be, because we're here to learn. You can't learn if everything is exactly as you want it to be. You can't grow if everyone that you interact with and every dynamic and energy tells you exactly what you want to hear. You'll never grow. We have some insight here into this distraction. Okay, that was perfectly placed. Ooh, okay. 5 of Swords. Okay, so the Fool, it can definitely flip. Definitely flip. This 5 of Swords, look at all those truths. All those aces of swords. Pointed right at this new beginning's mind. You need to know the truth. It's all coming in. It's not coming down. It's coming up into. It's interesting. Well, it makes sense because the dragonfly is in flight. There's a lot of thought and emotion here. There's a lot of help as well. This implies the 5 elements, including spirit, with the 5 helper spirits around it. 5 and 5 makes 10. This is the new beginning. A secondary sync with the dragonfly. So when you become aware, and you will, higher self, spirit, source, ancestors, they're highlighting that this distracting energy outside of you, whatever it may be, you're allowing it to give you an excuse to not move forward. But once you acknowledge it, once you realize that it's just a distraction and you've put your life on hold for it, you're not moving, you're not growing, you're not evolving. Your life is on pause because something else has decided that it wants your life force, your full attention. You don't get to live your life because X, Y, or Z is happening. Now tell me if that doesn't ring of an injustice there. That is not fair to you. And the thing is you're the one that decides whether or not it puts your life on hold. Not it, not this other energy. For example, like maybe one of your parents is ill. They're not ill to inconvenience you. That's not how that works. How you choose to react to that is your choice. If you decide your world's going to be about the taking care of that parent, then you've chosen to put your life on hold. If you, however, become aware that that's what's happening, you then have the ability to choose whether or not you're going to allow the next however many years of your life to not be lived by you, to be all about this dynamic. Now, any loving parent will not want you to stop living your life to take care of them. They won't want that. They will want you to continue living your life and to take those leaps of faith. Hey, I may have this really distracting thing in my life right now and it's hard for me to go through and cope with, but this is who I am, and whatever I'm calling in, this person that you love will love you with all your baggage included. It's not like they don't have baggage, right? If that's the most direct way to describe or answer that. Whoever this energy is, they need to be given the choice to be able to be receptive. If they don't know what's holding you up, that you're holding yourself back from expressing, that is something you feel will make it so that they won't be open to this connection, you don't really know their answer until you put it before them. And if you don't do that, then you're being unfair to both of you. You're being incredibly unfair to both of you. You're sabotaging them as well as you, because a connection like this, it doesn't come about because only one side has feelings. Only one side feels it. Whatever you're experiencing, they're feeling the echo of it. They're feeling their own experience of it. So when you decide to be distracted and to be stubborn in that and not take that leap of faith, you're being unfair to them as well as yourself. The only thing that you really can do to know that when you are come the end of your life and you're there and you're like, all right, I did everything I wanted to do and I have no regrets. This is serious right here. This is a connection that you will regret not letting them know. Not letting them have the option to be there for you, to show you, because you've let them know that you accept them and they accept you, baggage included, because you are not your baggage. This kind of a connection is a rare thing. All of that's going on around them, you notice how dark it is all around them? To them, it's just them in that moment. The rest of the world doesn't exist. All of their baggage is not in this connection. It's not part of their heart space that they share. It's not part of their intimacy. It doesn't affect what's between them. And then they're not in that moment anymore. Maybe a little kid comes up, tugs on her dress, and she's off taking care of that, and he's going, okay, well, now what was I doing? You will never have a time in your life as an adult where you're not going to have baggage. You're always going to have that. But that connection where the intimacy is unaffected because of that baggage, it's unaffected in any way. That is a connection that inspires others. It's a connection that, in human history, people have gone to war over. It's the connection that would move mountains. And that speaks to stubbornness. So do you, I feel like there's definitely both sides of this connection are aware of this. Through whoever is viewing this, your person's possibly aware of this through you. This stubbornness is unfair to both of you, not just you. You're not just sabotaging yourself, you're sabotaging them. Because in this kind of a connection, you both become more of yourself. You light up. You become more present because you are more present. Because you're happier. You have those moments of intimacy where the world falls away and everything quiets and your mind shuts off. That allows you to be more present in your family connections, with your children, with your job, with your friends, for yourself. It allows you to be more alive. And when you choose to say, hey, this baggage is probably going to make you not want anything to do with me, and you don't even put it before them, you are denying them as well as yourself the opportunity to live this reality. And you're being unfair to them and yourself. You will regret that. You will regret that. You will regret that. And this knowledge coming in, and the help coming in with that, the 10, like the 5 and the 5, the Fool can go right upright. You have it within your free will to know the truth. And you're helped in making that leap because this is major arcana and this is minor arcana. You have it within you to understand this truth to take the leap, to put that before this person that you feel will not be okay with your baggage, and let them make up their own mind and you not make it up for them. That moment, when you do that, that is what creates that connection, because their truth is what you need. Is there another person that you could be that open, that raw, that honest with? That vulnerable, and yet feel completely safe and secure? That is what's between these two. That is what you're calling in. That is what you've been manifesting. And this may have been trying to come to you multiple times. And you've been so distracted by this burden and how you're so certain that they won't be okay with it, that you keep rejecting what you're manifesting. Well, you have help and you have knowledge coming in. You have awareness coming in about what you can be. And you have assistance in taking that leap towards it and saying, hey, this is what's going on. And I'll tell you, because that connection is so rare and the divine has stepped in, there are forces of good, of love, of light that are helping you. Once that is connected, you've moved a mountain. Like, that is such good karma. This connection is going to be very supported. So whatever fears or anxieties that you have, you talk with that other energy about it, and you'll be amazed at how many problems that you think are insurmountable suddenly become overcomable. Wow, that was very direct, very passionate. Whew. Okay. Got a little spunk in us today, Divine. Like it. Passion. All right, so what do we have coming through here next? Like, once this is moved towards, what is the next thing? Ooh, the Page of Pentacles. Okay. This speaks to inner self. It speaks to the offer of yourself. Who are you? Who are you in this connection? Who are you in all the hats that you wear? It's understanding yourself. You've possibly been, doing this work because you've been trying to, at least in a spiritual level, you have been trying to understand how to take. So this is the pentacle that is being guarded. Right here, this is that pentacle. So this is in the yin yang symbol, this would be like the dark side with the splash of light being the pentacle. This would be the light side with like the dark, the splash of dark in the yin yang symbol. So this knowledge of self, you're very, very protective of yourself. That's understandable. That is understandable. But in learning of yourself, you will understand. There may be some things illuminated for you here as you look within. Once you have your mind quiet, you'll be able to come back to looking at this problem, this conundrum within inside of you from a very different perspective. Ooh, okay, all right, got it. You want me to shuffle there? You'll be able to see yourself from a different perspective. So whatever it is that you do to kind of quiet your mind, whatever it is that you do to quiet your mind will help you to see this burden that you're very much aware of and trying to solve from a very different direction. If I remember correctly from this particular deck, the Ten of Wands represents a state of waiting. The waiting is the burden. Exhaustion and feeling oppressed. Okay, so this learning of self has been a very, very heavy experience. Very, very heavy. And this is mirrored. Both sides of this Lover's card here, both sides of this are tired, they're worn out, they feel exhausted. This oppressive side though, is that oppression still present, or are we moving out of that? Have we overcome that? Are we still stuck in that illusion of being oppressed though? I don't know about this oppression side. Is it still present? If it is, what does the collective need to know? Lovers again, upright. Okay, so this oppression of the romantic side of yourself, the relationship side of this dynamic, you have divine aid coming in. You have this angel who's like, all right, okay, here we go. We're gonna help you guys out. You feel like you're from separate worlds and it would never work. Let me show you how it will work. To make that offer. Oh my gosh, the Page of Pentacles twice to make that offer. We're going to show you, they're going to help the assertive side to make that offer. And the receptive side is already, like, they're receptive to that pentacle. You might find that you are willing to give, that both sides are willing to give a pentacle to one another. It's not just one side. Yeah, because you guys have done the shadow work. This speaks directly to that oppressive question. That gnarly looking thing in there, once the light turned on, it became illuminated, and, well, the receptive side is protected within you. The assertive side is a little bit blinded. I mean, it's kind of like when your eyes are adjusted, right? And somebody turns on a bright light, you can't see very well for a bit. But this being in the inverted, that is no longer present within you, or it's in the process of being evicted. If it is something that you feel is still there, it is the remnant, the illusion that it's like seeds of doubt left behind, meant to distract you. It's no longer actually energetically present within you, effectively planting seeds. As this light continues to burn within you, those seeds they'll burn up. They'll become a non-thing, because your own being it's like your own being is on fire. So how can you plant? It's like the phoenix flame, right? Like you can't plant a tree in phoenix flame. So any seeds planted within that fire will incinerate. So whatever may still be there is on its way out and being fully removed. Like, you've been cooking or baking and the floor and the counters, they're all dirty and icky, and you're just going through and wiping down the counters and sweeping the floor. Maybe you need to mop. That's what's left with for the Phoenix fire to cleanse. Now, if I get the Phoenix out of this deck, I'm going to giggle. Because there is a Phoenix here in this deck. Okay. Ooh, we got a tower. Ooh, I get a really good feel from this tower. You guys are receptive to this change. You are. You're receptive to the support, the dynamic, this oppressive to just not be there. I mean, who wouldn't though, right? Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? So there is a change coming, and it's something you both have longed for, both wanted, both been working towards. And, you know, there is the divine present in here. So there is the Trinity. There is the divine within you, both coming in to aid you guys in reaching that you have been manifesting. All right. This does not mean that, like, this tower represents, you know, the falling down of whatever was seemingly the obstacle of distraction. It just means that you're feeling that this distraction would become something that would not be acceptable, period. That concept is being radically changed. And then we have the Nine of Wands inverted. Nine of Wands, the defensiveness, the protectiveness. Being an invert. Yeah, the torment, the cruelty, everything that you have been, possibly this is self-critic. This inner critic that may have the voices of individuals from your life that have projected themselves onto you, and now you think that their phrases, their means of treating you are your own inner critic. This is the freedom of that. This is the changing of that. It's the shedding of that burden that is not yours. It is not you. Which, doing this Page of Pentacles, the study of self, to be able to offer yourself, because you know yourself, you love yourself, through knowing this, you're able to say, nope, that's not me. Nope, that's not me. Nope, that's not me. I don't own that. I cut that out. That belongs to such and such, so-and-so. It's not mine. You're owning this change. You're living this change. Okay, I don't really think we need to go any deeper into that. That's pretty straightforward. That is pretty straightforward. So what's the outcome here? What is the outcome? What can my collective look to here? We have Temperance. Temperance kind of flopped to the side in the deck, so. So you have, you could be in friends, not just like you don't just know yourself, you have integrated the aspect or the concept that you are above and beyond and can overcome any possible negative, dark energy that could try to knock you off balance. You have everything you need within yourself to get to that moment at the end of your life and not have a regret. Because you've listened to yourself and you haven't denied yourself and you've trusted the divine aspect within you. I mean, can you look at those wings? Oh my goodness, right? How beautiful of a gift can you give yourself to be at the end of your life and not have regrets? How beautiful of a gift to live a life of such balance. Now, that is something you're receptive to. So what do we have for the assertive here? I'll do a couple of these because this one I do read in the inverted. The other one, I don't know. I just don't. I don't need to. I can see the inverted with it, but yeah. You had quite a bit of major arcana in your receptives as well, and this is definitely mirrored, so the divine is all over this one. We have 7 of spheres. That, wow, the power in that. Oh my gosh. Typically this card, the 7 of Pentacles, it's watching as the harvest matures. No, that is not what I'm getting here. This is, I've arrived. This is defending of that harvest. This is, because I am here, the ground cannot fall apart. Because I am Temperance and I can overcome anything that comes at me. This is, your faith is literally holding the ground around your harvest in place. So it does come to fruition and you get to enjoy every bit of it. Temperance is, to me, Temperance is the closest you're going to get to having like the divine in a deck of arcana. So in owning this about yourself, knowing it, realizing it, experiencing it, no matter how like, did that just happen? Is this real? You may be experiencing. Yes, It's happened often enough, you know it to be true. The validations, the synchronicities. This breaking ground is being healed. It's being healed by this. And there you are. This is mine. No. No, we're going to keep everything together. We're going to keep it all together. So what you felt would be the end of your world, what would be like the Armageddon of your life, that you would be forced to be at the end of your life and be in regret, that you'd have no other way out because you're receptive to this. It takes everything that could be a negative and turns into something beautiful and positive that you get to enjoy. The challenge may simply be in going back over this process and affirming, yes, I am temperance. Yes, I get to enjoy. I get to savor my life. I get to see it all come together. Do we have some closing messages, guidance? Now, I definitely was called to use this deck. I don't typically pull it out, but it's definitely invited to. So what do we have here for the collective? We have, oh, sorry about that. I should know better by now. Okay, we're gonna do this. So we have self-acceptance. And it's just like a little angel girl sitting on a pedestal, kind of marveling at something she found on the ground, like a rock or something. So accepting yourself. Ooh, music is very important. Allow music to be the way that you express yourself. Communicate. Use it to communicate. If it's hard to kind of open this communication initially, allow it to kind of be a code through which you can communicate with one another. Okay. And whatever this thing is that you felt has just allowed you to kind of keep that barrier, because why would they accept you given this baggage? To forgive yourself and to forgive others that have brought you to that space of putting your life on hold. To, yeah, really cultivate that state. To spend some time contemplating how you can forgive yourself and how you can forgive others so you can forgive yourself. Sometimes we really do need to forgive others before we can forgive ourselves. And that'll lead to this enchanted life. Well, it'll lead to this enchanted life. Okay, so this really feels like it lands. Like typically I do like 3 cards in a crossing, but these each seem to apply to these placements. Because like once you integrate these truths, you make your own judgments, you own genuinely what you learn. You know, and if you do decide to share this burden with whomever, it's an accepting of yourself and where you're at. And once you do that, you give them the opportunity to accept you. And the divine is helping you to do that very scary thing of sharing this. But the divine would not be doing that if you were not going to more than likely end up with them accepting you. Have that as like a mantra going into it. I would not be led to do this if it was not going to be good. I would not be so focused. My mind, my higher self, my guides would not be directing me in this direction so repetitively. I wouldn't be able to stop thinking about them like I am if I was, okay, you know what I mean? Like when you can't stop thinking about them so much so, there's a reason. Trust it. Because the divine does not want to hurt you. You've done so much work. This is a karmic reward. This is your blessing coming in. part of the learning of the self and the freeing of this burden, the awareness that this oppression is not really present within you. Classical music can probably help some with what's going on with the subconscious mind. There's certain notes and keys and harmonies that are known to elevate the mind. That can be helpful in healing. To be able to offer the self and like the forgiveness of yourself for possibly owning other people's cruelty as your own inner critic, and allowing that to happen so much, and forgiving yourself and forgiving them, leads to this enchanted life. Now, yes, there's a unicorn here. Yes, I know. But what it means is that you have the opportunity to live something that is so incredibly beautiful and rare, and so good for you and everyone around you, because you will be more present, you will be more you, and you will have so much life ahead of you because of this rarity. To pass something up like this, how could you not be in regret? To not give it the opportunity to maybe actually be realized. How could you not regret that? Because of that rarity. It's a blessing not many get to live in a lifetime, let alone, you know, at what point in this grand cycle of the wheel of time do you have the opportunity to do this, to live this? And if you're someone who remembers your past lives, you can bet your booty that the divine is going to be reminding you of this lifetime. You won't just be regretting it in this lifetime. You may be regretting it in lifetimes to come, because you're meant to learn it, to overcome it, to live it. The divine wants you to know how much you're loved, but if you're not open to that, the divine has to respect your choice, has to respect your free will. That's why this Five of Swords came out before the Fool. Once you understand these truths, whatever you decide, the divine will help you make that leap towards it. But you have to first be willing to see and know the truth. And being that that's a green, dragonfly, that's going to be a new beginning in a love that the divine is intervening to help you with, meaning this isn't going to be a bad experience. It's going to be a really beautiful one. Really beautiful. I mean, considering that basically the divine intervening kicked this creepy looking skeleton reaper dude out of your head. Yeah. The divine is doing battle for you. Are you open to it? And that will be the closing of today's reading. I do hope that this helped for those that are experiencing this in this time. And the divine within me honors the divine within you. Namaste.